morning, everybody. Is the microphone working?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Zeph Capo. I'm the Vice President of the Houston Federation of Teachers, and welcome this morning. We're here together, parents, teachers, community members that are concerned about the state and fate of our public schools. We realized some time ago that we needed to stand together and speak with one voice if we're going to make an impact on the policies that starve our schools of funding, that shame them through an accountability system of one size fits all, and eventually ends up shuttering them within our neighborhoods. Such was the potential for Nat Q. Henderson just behind us, most recently this last year. We are members of the Houston Federation of Teachers. We are members of the Community Voices for Public Education. We are members of the Service Employees International Union. We are members of the Texas Organizing Project, standing together to announce today that we have joined a national alliance, the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools. In addition, we welcome our newest partner to this alliance, the NAACP Houston branch. We will be continuing to work throughout this community to bring on additional partners that have local context here, such as the League of United Latin American Citizens we'll be reaching out to. Our national partners include the Annenberg Institute for School Reform, as well as the National Opportunity to Learn Coalition. At this time, I would like to bring up a parent who happens to be a SEIU member to speak from the parent perspective. Augustina.
Good morning. My name is Agustina Juárez. Soy miembro de SEIU Texas. Nosotros representamos 3,200 trabajadores en Houston.
Good morning, my name is Agustina Juárez and I am a member of SEIU Texas.
Nos unimos hoy a la alianza educativa porque necesitamos mejor futuro para nuestros hijos.
We are united here today. We unite today with the Alliance of Education because we need a better future for our children.
Soy madre de 2 hijos, estudiantes, y nos preocupa el cierre de las escuelas aquí en Houston. Un ejemplo, la escuela que tenemos aquí a nuestras espaldas.
I am a mother of 2 kids who go to the school Davis High School. We are worried about the number of schools that have been closed around Houston. For example, the school we have behind us.
Más estudiantes en las escuelas, menos atención para nuestros hijos. ¿Qué educación van a recibir nuestros hijos?
More children in the classroom want more attention. What education does my child receive?
Veo también cómo las escuelas que son cerradas, los niños se dividen y son trasladados a otras escuelas.
I also see how when schools are closed, children get divided and get transferred to different schools.
Eso no es justo. Nos unimos hoy porque nuestros hijos merecen mejor educación posible con los recursos necesarios para tener un futuro mejor.
That's not fair. We are united here today because our children need better education possible with the resources necessary for a better future.
Gracias. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to bring up a parent and community member, Ms. Loretta Brock, representing Community Voices for Public Education.
Good morning. The question may be asked, why are we here today? where we are united here today because we are calling on HISD to establish a moratorium on school closures. These closures are indeed discriminatory and bad for children. They are a violation of our public trust and harm our communities and our city. This is indeed our city, and these are our communities. Since 2001, the Houston Independent School District has permanently shuttered over 50 schools. The vast majority of these schools are in communities of color, affecting African Americans and Latin Americans disproportionately. Communities in HISD districts include districts 2 and 4 that were hit the hardest. And contrary to what some people think, Houston ISD is closing schools that work well and that are sending children to college that some other schools don't. Recognized and exemplary schools like Grimes, Stevenson, Rhodes, and Dotson, and others have been closed. Schools with a successful track record. Why? We ask HISD why. Students who experience school closures have a 31% lower graduation rate, according to the 2010 study of the effect of closures on displaced children. This alone is a call for a moratorium. Houston ISD argues that school closures save us money. Okay, we understand being prudent when it comes to our tax dollars. Why then did the Houston Independent School District sell 4 complete elementary schools in 2011 for $1.5 million? And why, even today, are we in court concerning the Houston ISD actually spending an additional $13 million to demolish a building built in 1927? Are they really saving us money? What Houston ISD dares not to do in privileged communities, it does with hardly a second thought in the poor communities. Demolition was started on the historic E.O. Smith Wheatley building without even a permit being pulled from the city of Houston. Would they have done that in a River Oaks or in a Memorial? Last winter, Dotson's parents were informed of a possible closure the 1st of February. Only 6 weeks later, the school was dead. This is not a democracy. This is a farce of democracy. And this is certainly not public education. Public education should be education by the people and for the people. Neighborhoods need grocery stores, but what neighborhoods need most of all are strong public neighborhood schools that are open to all, to educate all. We know that sometimes it takes a little bit more money, more time, and more commitment to fulfill the democratic promise and process for children in poverty, and we can recognize that. But you cannot close schools into excellence. You cannot close children into graduation. Closing schools is abandoning children. We refuse to go on like this. We, the Alliance, we refuse to go on like this. If HISD's policy of shaming children, starving schools, and then shuttering them is absolutely wrong. The community needs to have an active voice in the school closure process and should be provided with ample information, resources, and the time needed to take action. The necessary components of a school closure process shall include an explanation of how the closing of this school would benefit the children. The community needs more time and opportunity to propose an alternative to the closing of the school. The community needs at least a 1-year advance notice of the school closure or at-risk list. School closure policy decisions must be free from racial and social economic status. Urban city planning involvement is necessary to understand the implications, of school closures for the larger community. Until then, we are calling on a moratorium on school closures. We are calling for equity in education. Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you, Loretta.
Now, I'd like to bring up to the microphone, representing the Texas Organizing Project, Ms. Tarsha Jackson.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm Tarsha Jackson, the Harris County Director for Texas Organizing Project. As we all know, teaching and learning does not happen in a vacuum. Every day, kids go to school taking with them things that they're dealing with in their daily lives. Unfortunately, the teachers and the school is not equipped to deal with these type of issues. Research shows that community schools and the abilities and research shows that community school services can have a positive impact on academic success in their neighborhoods. Now, community schools is not a new concept. Community schools are a hub of activity in many urban areas throughout the United States, such as Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia. These buildings are open 24 hours a day and accessible to both in the morning and in the evening. Now, community schools also provide community schools provide services targeting specific needs identified by the community, ranging from ELS classes, health clinics, and family counseling based in the school, and families come there to access them. Instead of feeling like outsiders in the school, parents and family and community members would feel a sense of ownership, and they would feel like they're wanted there. So we need to explore community schools further, and we're calling the HISD we recommend a pilot community schools program. At the end of the day, we all want what's best for our kids, and it's up to us to make sure that they get that. Thank you.
Thank you. To make remarks on behalf of the NAACP Houston branch, Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz.
Good morning, good morning. I just want to say that there is a pervasive mood of distrust for the Houston Independent School District. It certainly should not be that way. We should be able to work hand in hand to make our schools in the minority communities successful. What is going on? These schools are being depleted of resources and programs, and our children are being bused across town. That means that your child and my children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews are being bused. They have to get up at 5:30 in the morning and go across town to go to school. And of course, then they get across town and they may be a little tired. And if we know how we act when we're tired, we may have a lot of behavior problems. But at that rate, we want our children educated in our own communities. But of course, and I'm going to say this, I didn't originate this, who would shop at a grocery store with no groceries? By the same token, if the schools do not give the children the resources that they need for success, why would I or anyone send their child to a local neighborhood school? But it's beneficial to have the programs in the school, then all of the children can take advantage, because those children that are bused in and out cannot access after-school activities. But we have a responsibility as well. I believe that a lot of times we are not heard because we do not exercise our right to vote. Yesterday was the deadline for registering to vote. Hopefully you took advantage of that deadline, because that is how our voices are heard. The trustees of the Houston Independent School District are voted in and they are voted out. But if we don't show up, and they do keep statistics on which neighborhoods show up, then we will never be heard. The NAACP long ago sent a letter to Dr. Terry Greer and the Houston Independent School District Board of Trustees calling for a moratorium. That has not been acknowledged, but we continue to stand with any alliance that is about the education of our children. We want the Independent School District to know we don't want to fight with you, but we will. We want you to acknowledge us, acknowledge our needs and our desires, and not make decisions for us with the paternalistic attitude that you know what's best for us, and then you engage us after the process has been done to give us some cursory understanding of what is going on. So we want a seat at the table before the meal is served, not after the meal has been eaten and then you want us to come in and tell you how it tasted and what we wanted for the meal. So please understand, we want a seat at the table, and you may not see a lot of people here, but we have the sentiments and we have organizations behind us that back us to say that we want a moratorium on school closings. In regard to the building over on Gregg Street, it just perplexes me to say that a community cannot preserve their history. I never hear of buildings being torn down at Rice University. In fact, the Houston Community College just restored and had a great celebration for the old San Jacinto High School over on Holman Street in the 3rd Ward Midtown area. I say 3rd Ward, but that area, I may give that to Midtown. But at some point, we need to understand that maybe it's not the best fiscal decision to always tear down. In fact, the people voted for the bond, believing that they were going to get new buildings and refurbished buildings. I am a part of the PAT team at Jack Yates High School. There is a pervasive mood of distrust in that committee. We're not certain that if we tear the school down, that we'll get another school. We are told that they are going to house 1,500 students. Well, we want our 2,500 school student back. We want that back. We don't want to lose services. We don't want to lose the swimming pool. We don't want to lose our track and field and those things that we're having to bargain for. We want a moratorium on school closings. We want a seat at the table, and we want the Houston Independent School District to stop having these cursory meetings where we come in front and we have these dog and pony shows while you walk to the bathroom, while you text, while you do all the things of disrespect to the communities, and then you come back and you make the decisions that you have already decided for whatever political reasons you have chosen. We want the trustees to reestablish trust. We want you to represent your communities, truly. You are not there for your own sakes. You are there to represent those that put you there, your constituents. The school names are being historically lost. We have gone through a process. We are not being honored, and we want a moratorium, and we want to be heard. Thank you.
Our final speaker today, in respect for the neighborhood where we are, we have a representative from the Greater 5th Ward Stakeholders Partnerships.
Good morning. Good morning. The Greater 5th Ward Stakeholder Partnership is comprised of community members who are concerned about not only school closings, but other issues that everybody here has already spoken about. Voting, literacy, sustainable food resources. We of this community and the people that are standing here today in every community need those kinds of things. We need education to be educated so that we can get those things for ourselves. So that's where schools come in. That's where education comes in. Preparing our kids to be able to sustain for themselves, to live in communities where schools don't close, to live in communities where there are grocery stores, where there are shopping centers, everything that everybody else has, the American dream. As a stakeholder, we are concerned about the vulnerability of elderly people. They don't have much. We're concerned about taxation. We talk about schools closing, but we pay taxes at these schools that are closing. And whatever is built or whatever moratorium is going to happen, we are still paying taxes. And we are going to be taxed out if things keep going as they are. So with a moratorium, I'd like us to also consider taxation. That's big. We have elderly people who have worked all their lives to save their homes in this community, and they're going to be taxed out based on the building of these mega schools. We can keep our community schools, we can improve them, we can bring our students back in, and we can have a better living condition for everybody. And we have to address taxes. So with the stakeholders, what we do is we address elderly people. We make sure they get to the polls. With TOP, I work with TOP also. We make sure we calling people. We are walking. We're working in Sunnyside. We're working all over the place because what we're missing is we're being distracted by HISD. And as the young lady, Ms. Brock, said, voting is the key. If they're not doing what we need done, vote them out. But our issue is, mine particularly, I'm concerned about, is where are the voters? If we vote these people in and out, we will get some traction. But if we keep doing the same old thing, we're going to keep getting the same old thing. So as a part of the Greater Fifth Ward Stakeholders Partnerships and TOP, we need to indoctrinate parents. Where are the parents? Where are they in the schools? I am a 47-year veteran in public education and higher education. 47 years. I worked for HISD. They fed me and they paid my bills. But I gave them back. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've been in these schools. I graduated from Phyllis Wheatley. I taught at Phyllis Wheatley. I graduated from E.O. Smith. I worked out of E.O. Smith. I know a lot of things that a lot of people don't know. But as a stakeholder, as a community concerned citizen, I have to put HISD in its right place. We need everything in this community and all communities. We have been disenfranchised. We need everything that everybody else has. Memorial, River Oaks, Tanglewild, all of it. We want it. Is that asking too much? No. So, HISD, you're trying, but you're not doing good enough. We don't want to try. We want our schools in our communities. We want our kids back. Whatever plans there are, why can't you let us in on it? Let us know what's happening. But, by the same token, we need to seek. We need to see. We need to find out what's going on. We can't wait for them. It's like Miss NAACP says. We don't want to come after the dinner served. We want to come before it. So we have to build those bridges. We have to make sure HISD knows that we're the taxpayers. We have the power. And we got to get the people out. And that's one big issue that stakeholders is working with the TOP, along with TOP, getting the people out. We're knocking on doors. We're going all everywhere, trying to get people out so they know their power. And thank you so much.
That concludes our event today. The final statement that we would like to make sure that everyone is aware of, we're not alone here. Sister organizations in the cities of Austin and Dallas are also holding press conferences within their communities and talking about the issues of public education that matter most to them. Thank you.